Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Jinsula, and welcome to another Pokemon Go discussion video. So, over the weekend, we had ourselves a limited research day that featured the Pokemon Cranidos as well as Shieldon, and I have to say that this was a lot of fun. Now, I do think there's a lot of lessons that Niantic could learn from this event, especially if they are trying to get back into the Pokemon Go community's good graces. I'm going to be talking about all of this in today's video, so let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Okay, so we need to talk about that limited research event that we had over the weekend. I think a lot of players did not know about this event, and that's a real shame because there was a lot of positive experiences during this small mini event. It was actually part of the Ultra Unlocks that we were able to achieve through Pokemon Go Fest, and I really do think that this was a very rewarding experience. I know a lot of players were complaining about the shiny rates during Pokemon Go Fest, but for this particular event, I actually thought the shiny rate was substantially good. I don't know what the exact shiny rate was for both Shieldon and Cranidos, but it seemed to be around 1 in 60, at least according to what players have been saying online. Of course, that sort of result is going to vary from player to player, but for me myself personally, I did about 150 tasks and I came out with about 17 shinies, so for me it was close to about 1 in 10. I probably had a much more positive experience compared to other players, but it seemed like it was still a huge success within the Pokemon Go community. You would be very hard pressed to find anyone that was feeling very negative towards this limited research event, but there was of course a couple of negatives that people were pointing out. Of course, one of the negative complaints that people had regarding this limited research event was the fact that it was specifically catered towards outdoor players. Mainly, in order for you to participate in this event, you would have to go outside and spin as many Pokestops as you possibly can. So for players who live in urban areas that have a high density of Pokestops, they would have a strong advantage against rural players and disabled players who were homestuck. Typically, for these sort of limited research events, at least within the past 2 years, they would have a stay-at-home element to them, but for this particular limited research day, it seems like they cut that out. I think if Niantic were to do limited research events like this in the future, they really should combine the two. Have a stay-at-home element to it, but also allow you to go out and get these tasks from Pokestops. I think that would be a really great compromise, especially for players who are not able to go outside and play. They could still have a chance at getting these shinies that you could get from these limited research events. But regardless of that one little imperfection, I would say that this event was a breath of fresh air. There's been a lot of negativity towards Pokemon Go as of late, and I really do think that having an event like this draw a little bit of positivity from the community is going to be a really good thing, and it's something that Niantic should lean into. I also think the other reason why this event was so successful is because it involved Pokemon that were meta relevant. Whether it be Bastiodon for the Great League or Cranidos for raid battles, players were motivated to go out and do these tasks because both of these Pokemon are actually useful. I mean, in the past, we've had limited research days, but it was for Pokemon that are not relevant, and I really feel like that sort of thing can take away a lot of buzz behind these sort of events. So, if Niantic is considering doing more of these in the future, I would make the suggestion that they should always go with Pokemon that are relevant in some way, whether in PvP or for raid battles. Now, this kind of leads me into something that I know I've talked about before on my YouTube channel, but I actually would love the idea of them doing this monthly. Kind of like Community Day, I would love to see a limited research day that would feature a new or an old shiny. In other words, every single month we would have a Community Day to look forward to, but also a limited research day as well. I think that would also kind of take away some of the brunt of the impact that a lot of players were feeling when the Community Day duration was nerfed, because if you have 2 events that are concurrent every month, then you would have something else to look forward to if you are not able to make one of them. Now, I know there'd be some players who would push back against this because they would feel like the game would be overwhelming at that point, but I actually don't think this is the case. The reason why I say that is because if you were to think about it, limited research days could be a great way to bring back old shinies or old community day Pokemon, or highlight certain shinies that are not as common as before. Sure, some people would not like the idea of certain shinies that they have in their collection suddenly losing a lot of their rarity, but in general, I think this would be really good for the Pokemon GO community as a whole. The rarity of shinies is kind of arbitrary in my opinion, because as the game ages, certain shinies will naturally lose their relevance and their rarity over time anyway. So why not have it more accessible to players after a certain while? I think that's a great move, especially for players who are just starting the game recently and they are trying to catch up to the game. In general, I just see a lot more positives than negatives by having limited research days be monthly. And I've seen the same argument presented for spotlight hours as well. But over time, players have stopped complaining about it, so I think the same would apply here with limited research days. But yeah, regardless, I still think there's a lot of work that Niantic needs to do, especially in regards to the limited research events. Yes, it is a very positive experience, but it's not universally going to be positive. I think they could do a lot of tweaks and add a lot of different things to make it fun for pretty much everyone. Even if you live in a rural area or you're disabled, you should still be able to enjoy this event. But if they were to figure that out, I would really hope for them to do this monthly. I think it would do a lot of good for Pokemon GO, and it would generate a lot of positive buzz, which is something that Niantic has needed for a long time. I just think there's a lot of potential if they were to do this again, because this past limited research event was some of the most fun that I've had in a long while, even with Pokemon Go Fest that we've had 2 weeks ago. But yeah, these are just my own personal thoughts and opinions regarding it. Of course, it's going to be different for everyone. I'm sure there's a lot of rural players and disabled players who are really unhappy about this limited research event. I would definitely like to know your perspective on this, because of course, even though I'm buzzing from this event, I know there's a lot of players who are not, and I would love to hear their point of view. And also my suggestion regarding making this a monthly thing, I would love to know your opinions on that as well. Do you think that is a good idea, or it is something that you are not happy with? Or is it something that you are vehemently against? I would love to know why in the comment section below. Let me know and let's have a great discussion. And yeah, that's going to be it for this video. If you ended up enjoying it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support my channel in any way, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. Every single one of my patrons gets a permanent spot on my friends list. So if you want to interact with me in any way within Pokemon Go, like with remote raids and different things like that, then do consider becoming a patron on my Patreon. Anyway, yeah, that's gonna be it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.